We're going to continue this week with another solo out of that transcription book, The Magnificent Seven. We're going to focus on the next Antonio Sanchez solo. This one is from a Chick Corea cut called Dr. Joe. And great little phrases. Dr. Joe is a blues, and Antonio trades a couple of choruses with Chick. And in that, he plays something that is pretty common in jazz drum language, but I want to kind of break down some of the little ideas in it and talk about, again, how it's something that we can stretch and make our own without losing the essential elements of it. So the phrase goes, he starts it on beat 2. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So slowly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Right, left, right, left, right, right. So now, some of that probably sounds fairly familiar to you. Let's first break down the concept of why he used that sticking. This is a concept, if you're not familiar with it, that I call right-hand lead. That's really where the left's job is to fill in the blanks while the right plays a melody for us. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And then the left fills in. That is different, if you've ever worked out of the Ted Reed syncopation, there's that famous page, which for my generation was page 37, and they did a reprint, and now it's page 38. But, that kind of, we're taught a lot to alternate those, right? Which sounds great, and it's definitely a sticking that we use a lot. But if there's something that's beneficial, at least the way that Antonio uses the right-hand lead, is all those doubles here kind of soften up the inner voices a little bit. Maybe it smooths it out a little bit. So if we played we played syncopation with the right-hand lead, then all of a sudden we get this slightly slurred or legato sound to it. That kind of phrasing really works well fast, right? Versus, which is a little more choppy meaning like chops or kind of like, trying to dig it out. It's more like muscular, more aggressive, which, as you've heard me speak about before, that sound is crucial, and also having a little bit more of that legato sound. So Antonio loves to use that right-hand lead thing because he likes that sound, that little legato version of it, right? So step 1 is just getting comfortable with that right-hand lead thing. The second thing I like about it is that he doesn't just randomly play right-hand lead with just these kind of like random triplet figures, which I hear a lot of inexperienced drummers do. What does he do? I mean, obviously he can play any triplet combination he wants, but he finds a phrase and then he repeats it, just like any great composer would do. You find a melodic phrase, you should repeat it. You should then get the audience familiar with it. And then later on in his chorus, in his blues chorus, he then goes away from it and then comes back to it. I mean, if that's not composition 101, I don't know what is. Find a melodic phrase, veer from it a little bit, and then come back to it. So he doesn't just go, right? There's like 4 bars of just triplet stuff, right? Doesn't catch your ear as much as something like that, where we start and we repeat that phrase, we loop it enough that the listener grabs onto it, then we can move away. So I love that part of the phrasing of it. I also like how he slips that bass drum in right before we come back around. a third level, a third sound to our ears, which definitely adds a little bit more depth to it and adds a little more subtlety to it. So check out that right hand lead stuff he's doing on that phrase. Check out how he establishes a melodic or a rhythmic chunk, then moves away from it, and then, as we talked about last time, let's get a little bit more in depth. First thing, you could just practice soloing with that right hand lead thing. And get comfortable with that. It works well fast. Right? Second thing, when you do that, find your own little melodic phrase to repeat. Something like that versus just being random with the triplets. And the last one, there's another thing to take from this is slipping in that little bass drum makes a big difference. So you could take a, that's a little phrase I hear a lot of guys use where we put the bass drum on the sixth beat. So if we just take a paradiddle diddle, and apply that Antonio thing to it, let's replace that very last left with the bass drum. So it goes from to. To me, that's a little extra piece from this solo that you can draw from. So just from learning that one phrase, the lick itself works great. Then we just focus on the right hand lead stuff on top of that. That's a second door we can travel through. Just the general concept of finding a little melodic phrase, whether it be triplet based or not, and repeating that. That's another door we can travel through just from this one phrase. And the last one is the subtlety of something that's hand-oriented, where we just drop at least one, if not two, little bass drums in there, so all of a sudden it adds some bottom, some depth to the phrase. Look at all the different doors and all the different possibilities that you can explore just from one little phrase. That's ultimately, I think, the best use of transcribing any one phrase is all of the endless possibilities that can come from it if you just focus on one concept from that phrase at a time. Okay, good luck.